Hi, everybody. It is Monday, October 7th. I'm Gloria Moraga, and this is the Political Woman Podcast. Thanks for being here. Yes, I've been gone. I took a break to concentrate on video production, and I've missed podcasting. I miss audio only, and I don't know. I think I'm just going to do from now on what I like. It is a month before Election Day 2024. Who knows what is going to happen? Now, I don't believe the polls. I don't believe any of the polls. I've said this before. Polls are skewed. Polls aren't right. Polls are wrong. Also, it's a new age. I don't know how these pollsters are getting hold of people. If they're calling on landlines, they're not reaching any of the people who are the future of this country. So I'm not quite sure what these people are doing. But I don't trust them. I don't like them. And who knows? The only thing I know is if all of us, and I'm talking about people who believe in democracy and people who believe in the rule of law, if we all vote, we will win. We will win and we will have the first woman president of the United States. But if we don't, we won't. It's that simple. How anyone can vote for Trump that has an ounce of, knowledge about current events, I don't understand. I just don't. What can I say? He's not right. He is a danger to this country. And I just it's a stressful time for me because I don't think people like women. I know that's another terrible thing to say. And, I don't think they want to vote for a woman as president. Not to mention she's a woman of color. So, yeah, I don't trust people, especially since you look at all the people who like Trump. And when I hear that people aren't going to vote, I become infuriated. I'm just become so angry, I can barely breathe. And then I do actually feel myself hyperventilating. Come on. You don't want to vote? You don't like either choice? I mean, how spoiled rotten are some people? Oh, it won't matter. Shut up. Yes, it does. There are too many issues at stake, my friends, to have a bad attitude about voting. So I was listening to some podcasts, Michael Cohen, people I like, Keith Olbermann, and they all talked about this story. And I actually did a live on TikTok this morning, and I had no followers. I had nobody tuning in. You know what happens is when you go live on TikTok, people swipe through, and if they're not interested in what you're talking about, they just swipe back through. I mean, I'm not doing tap dancing out on, the boardwalk, so they just swipe right through, talking about politics. Not that, I'm saying it's other political podcasts, or TikToks, lives have viewers. I just not me. So I read some of this morning, actually Sunday morning on TikTok. And I thought for my first podcast back, I would read from this article. And then I want to, tomorrow, because I'm going to try to post every day, famous last words, I'm going to read from Jack Smith's latest unsealed, partially redacted update on crimes that Trump allegedly committed. Now, this is Jack Smith's report after the Supreme Court, the crooked Supreme Court, said that Trump has limited immunity for acts committed when he was president. So Jack Smith went through Trump's alleged crimes with a fine-tooth comb and came out with another indictment of alleged crimes. And what a document. Woof. So I'm going to try to work on that first thing in the morning. I mean, it's already morning here. I came in actually to write a check for my gardener who comes on Monday morning, first Monday of the month. And I thought, well, I saw that I was downloading again Creative Cloud and Adobe Audition on the Creative Cloud. And so I thought, oh, what the hell? I downloaded it earlier. I had to delete it because there was bugs. But yeah, so I thought, well, let's do it. It's late. It's 1:31 a.m. on Monday morning. And I'm a late owl. You know that. If you listen to me ever, even when I haven't been here for a while. Also, another hurricane is barreling toward Florida, the Gulf Coast side of Florida. And, Florida's still reeling from Hurricane Helene. So there's that. And Congress not putting any extra funds in FEMA's budget for disasters. And this Congress just, my God, I just so want Harris to win and to have a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate. So see, I don't want much, do I? All right, so I'm reading from the New York Times. Yes, and I just go hot and cold for the New York Times. I canceled my subscription and then I signed back up. And when I signed back up, I signed up for everything. So I've got the full, because I'm so mad at them and hate them because of the way they treated Biden and how they let Trump get away with murder. And so, whenever I see an article that criticizes Trump, it's like, oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to read this. I'm going to quote from this. So I'm going to quote from this. This is from the New York Times, Sunday morning. Trump's speeches, increasingly angry and rambling, reignite the question of age. That's a quote, New York Times. That's the headline. And then here's the subheadline. With the passage of time, the 78-year-old former president's speeches have grown darker, harsher, longer, angrier, less focused, more profane, increasingly fixated on the past, according to a review of his public appearances over the years. And this dude, the two dudes wrote this, and then there are videos from a woman and a guy. And Peter Baker is one of the writers of this article, and he appears on MSNBC often. And here's what it says. Peter Baker covered the Trump presidency and wrote a book on it with his wife, Susan Glasser. Remember that? They were on all the talk shows talking about their book. Dylan Freeman, he's the other subwriter, is a machine learning engineer and a journalist working on AI initiatives. I say the raspberry. I do the raspberry because, when you have software that you purchase, like Adobe, I have the Adobe suite, and I have WordPress for my website. You get, I have a couple of other, software, like top of the line software that I use, like Grammarly. I pay extra for the big full Grammarly. That's the typo correcting software. They push AI at you. And I tried it once on my website. It said, use AI to write this story. And I'd kind of done an outline, and so I said, okay. It was a temporary trial. It was horrible. It was just horrible. The writing was just, it's not like I talk. It was just, I don't know. And I just thought, wow, this sucks. And I guess the more you use it, the more AI learns your style. But it's like, screw that. I'd just rather write it myself. All right, so I'm going to go back to the article. Here is a quote. I'm going to read some. I probably won't read the whole entire article, but I want to give you a look at what the Times is saying about Trump being crazy and just rambling and not making any sense. And, I watch him every speech because I'm putting videos together and I'm trying to share some content. And it's harder and harder to find like a soundbite that makes sense unless you just play the whole thing like Midas Touch does. They play and a lot of the other dudes that have real viewers on YouTube, not like me, I just have a few. They use all the bad sound bites and make fun of it. And I'm trying to find like a coherent soundbite that I can compare his policies to Harris's policies. And there's like, he doesn't have any policies. So I don't have any sound bites. But today, or Sunday, he was talking about, he was supposed to be staying on message. And he started talking about a fly. Apparently a fly buzzed around him.
Angela was thrown out after about a year, and now they're building a coal plant a week. I don't like flies. Get out of here, fly. Never been a big fan of flies. You don't mind my bringing that up, do you? Anyway, this is a very aggressive sucker, though. This one in particular is very aggressive. Like, I'm going to be aggressive for our country.
And wow, he doesn't stay on task. He does not stick to the subject. He's all over the place. And it doesn't matter because his followers are a cult and they don't care. And he eats it up. He says, it's okay to talk about the fly, right? And they applaud and cry, go wild. All right, quote, former President Donald J. Trump vividly recounted how the audience at his climactic debate with Vice President Kamala Harris went on his side. Except there was no audience. The debate was held in an empty hall. No one, quote, went crazy, unquote, as Mr. Trump put it, because there was no one there. It's still quoting, anyone can misremember, of course. But the debate had just been a week earlier and fairly memorable moment. And it was hardly the only time Mr. Trump has seemed confused, forgetful, incoherent, or disconnected from reality lately. In fact, it happens so often these days that it no longer even generates much attention, end quote. Keith Olbermann mentioned this and said, yeah, it doesn't garner much attention because the media lets Trump get away with whatever he wants, including the New York Times. It doesn't bring him to task like everybody did with Biden and like everybody did with Hillary. They had Hillary convicted and she didn't even do anything. Back to the article. Quote, he rambles. He repeats himself. He roams from thought to thought. Some of them hard to understand. No duh. Some of them unfinished. Some of them factually fantastical. He voices outlandish claims that seem to be made up out of whole cloth. He digresses into bizarre tangents about golf, about sharks, about his own beautiful body. He relishes a great day in Louisiana after spending the day in Georgia. He expresses fear that North Korea is trying to kill me, when he presumably means Iran. As late as last month, Mr. Trump was still speaking as if he was running against President Biden, 5 weeks after Biden's withdrawal from the race.
I can't imagine New Hampshire voting for him. Anybody in New Hampshire, because they're watching right now, but anybody in New Hampshire that votes for Biden and Kamala, I really think I call her a comrade, Kamala, because that's what her ideology is.
With Mr. Biden out, Mr. Trump, at 78, is now the oldest major party nominee for president in history, and would be the oldest president ever if he wins and finishes another term at 82. A review of Mr. Trump's rallies, interviews, statements, and social media posts finds signs of change since he first took the political stage in 2015. He has always been discursive and has always been untethered to truth, but with the passage of time, his speeches have grown darker, harsher, longer, angrier, less focused, more profane, and increasingly fixated on the past. According to a computer analysis by the Times, Mr. Trump's rally speeches now last an average of 82 minutes. This gets me. Keith Overman mentioned this. A computer analysis? Like they just couldn't time them themselves? Because they're not there. It's not their fault that they're talking about this. Don't blame them. Blame the computer analysis. All right. His speeches now average 82 minutes, compared with 45 minutes in 2016. Proportionately, he uses 13% more all or nothing terms like always and never. 13% more than he did 8 years ago, which some experts consider a sign of advancing age. Remind me never to use always and never. I never would do that because I always used to. All right, I'm digressing because I'm tired. Similarly, he uses 32% more negative words than positive words now, compared with 21% in 2016, which can be another indicator of cognitive change.
They all have cameras. See, every one of you has a camera. If I blow it up here, though, they take a perfect, brilliant, beautiful statement that I make. I go for 2 hours without teleprompters. And if I say one word slightly out, they say, he's cognitively impaired.
And he uses swear words 69% more often than he did when he first ran. A trend that could reflect what experts call disinhibition. A study by Stat, a healthcare news outlet, produced similar findings. They're quoting everybody now because it's not them saying he's, senile. Mr. Trump frequently reaches to the past for his frame of reference, often to the 1980s and 90s, when he was in his tabloid-fueled heyday. He cites fictional characters from that era, like Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lip. That's a quote. He meant Silence of the Lambs. He asks, "Where's Johnny Carson? Bring back Johnny." Carson died in 2005. And he ruminates about how attractive Cary Grant was, the most handsome man.
Look, at 81, do you remember Cary Grant? How good was Cary Grant, right? I don't think Cary Grant, he was good. I don't know what happened to movie stars today. We used to have Cary Grant and Clark Gable and all these people. Today we have, I won't say names because I don't need enemies. I don't need enemies. I got enough enemies. But Cary Grant was like, Michael Jackson once told me, the most handsome man, Trump in the world. Who? Cary Grant. Well, we don't have that anymore. But Cary Grant at 81 or 82, going on 100, this guy, he's 81 going on 100. Cary Grant wouldn't look too good in a bathing suit either. And he was pretty good looking, right?
He asked supporters whether they remember the landing in New York of Charles Lindbergh, who actually landed in Paris long before Mr. Trump was born. He seems confused about modern technology, suggesting that most people don't have any idea what the hell a phone app is, in a country where 96% of people own a smartphone. If sometimes he seems stuck in the 1990s, there are moments when he pines for the 1990s, holding out that decade as the halcyon period of American history, and William McKinley as his model president because of his support for tariffs. And he heads off into rhetorical cul-de-sacs. So we build a thing called the Panama Canal, he told the conservative host Tucker Carlson last year.
So we built a thing called the Panama Canal. We lost 35,000 people to the mosquito, malaria.
Yeah.
We lost 35,000 people we lost 35,000 people because of the mosquito. Vicious. They had to build under nets. It was one of the true great wonders of the world. As he said, one of the 9 wonders of the world. No, it was one of the 7. It happened a little while ago, There's 9 wonders of the world. You could make 9 wonders. He would have been better off if he stuck with the 9 and just said, yeah, I think it's 9.
While elements of this are familiar, some who have known him for years say they've noticed a change. He's not competing at the level he was competing at 8 years ago, no question about it, said Anthony Scaramucci, a former Trump ally who has endorsed Ms. Harris. He's lost a step. He's lost an ability to put powerful sentences together. You can like Trump or you can hate Trump, but he's been a very effective communicator, Mr. Scaramucci continued. But now, he added, the word salad buffet on the Trump campaign is being offered at a discount. You can eat all you can eat, but it's at a discount. Scaramucci is that little guy. I mean, I don't know if he's little, but he looks little with kind of the big head. And he was, I think, communications director when Trump first became president. And he didn't last very long because he butted heads, with Trump and the powers that be. And of course, you can't have your own thoughts or feelings. I've worked for a lot of people like that. And you just have to learn to shut up. Sarah Matthews, who was Trump's deputy press secretary until breaking with him over the January 6th, 2021 attack, said the former president has lost his fastball. This is a quote. I don't think anyone would ever say Trump is the most polished speaker, but his more recent speeches do seem to be more incoherent. He's rambling even more so. He's had some pretty noticeable moments of confusion. When he was running against Biden, maybe it didn't stand out as much. Well, because everybody was criticizing poor Joe Biden, who at least has all of his faculties. He just had a speech impediment and a bone spur. This back to the article. Mr. Trump dismisses any concerns and insists that he has passed cognitive tests. He calls his meandering style the weave and asserts that it's an intentional and brilliant communication strategy. As someone, me, who studied communications, that's not true. It's another lie. And the article goes on and on. It goes through. It's just about up, but I'm pretty much done here. Wanted to share that with you. New York Times. I'm Gloria Moraga, political woman. Tuesday, 4 weeks to Election Day. I'm going to check the mail first thing in the morning and see if my official ballot is here. And I'm going to fill out my ballot and take it and drop it off in person. I'm not mailing it. And I'll take my daughter's as well after she votes and she signs it and drop it off in person. sealed and she signs it, it's done. I just want to say, please vote. Please vote early. Please have a plan. It matters that you vote. The Congress is out of control. We've got to get rid of the Republicans who are running the House of Representatives into the ground. We've got to try to hold on to the United States Senate. So if, and I'm praying and my fingers are crossed, Kamala Harris wins, she will have a Congress that can help implement some of her ideas and policies. This is important because we can fix the border, not entirely in 4 years, but we could put ourselves on the right track. The bill that Trump killed is a start, all right? We could get back to women having the right to privacy with their medical decisions and more. Harris can appoint judges. We could get rid of 2 of those members of the Supreme Court who are going to retire, and we could put some decent people on there. I'm Gloria Moraga, Political Woman. Please subscribe. Please follow me. Please be back tomorrow. I will be back. I love you all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking with me. And I will post on Tuesday. This is Monday. Be safe.